That sound you just heard was not a mistake. It was 190 euros of pure unadulterated common sense. And you probably saw the thumbnail, you saw that price, and you probably think that I'm shocked face is just another bit over the top YouTube theater, but I promise you it is not. If anything, it's not dramatic enough. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm supposed to be chasing status symbols to feel alive, but here I am calling this 190 euro Harley Benton almost perfect. And I spend my days obsessing over digital signal chains, so you don't have to, essentially acting as your personal guide through the technical maze of the Spark amp. And I specifically bought this B-stock gamble specifically because I needed a dedicated demo guitar to showcase P90 tones for my Spark videos. I already have the single coil basses covered with the Strat and the humbuckers with the Tele, so I wanted the middle ground growl without spending Gibson money. And I have a rule that every time I buy a new guitar, I try a different brand. I'm still relatively new to this game, and since the internet is basically a landfill of unverified opinions, I want to cycle through as many manufacturers as possible. I need to see what actually resonates with me, and more importantly, if the stuff people say online is actually true or just a collective delusion. And I fully expected this guitar to be a project, a glorified kit of parts that I would have to fix while doing the work the factory didn't bother to finish. But then I actually sat down with it, and a reality check hit that should not exist at this price point. I went hunting for flaws like a lawyer looking for a loophole, but I came up empty-handed. Well, almost. And today we're doing a proper breakdown to see if I just got lucky or if the budget guitar world has finally evolved past the point of being a cheap joke. We're starting with my basement level expectations and ending with a verdict that made me realize an expensive boutique collection might not be all that. The problem with buying B stock for under 200 euros is that you usually expect like sharp fret edges, a nut that's been cut by someone who was clearly late for lunch, and I assumed this was sent back because it was a disaster. Instead, I only found a very small paint chip on the front that honestly I stopped caring about after 3 seconds. It looks good, and yeah, the color, it says it's TV yellow. It's not quite, it's more like a vintage mustard, but I do love it. And for the price that wouldn't even cover a decent steak dinner in some cities, I got a finish that actually has some character. So let's hear some clean tones. Now let's talk about the setup, because this is where the professional logic fails. Usually I think a sub 200 guitar needs a full day on the bench just to be playable for everyone with standards. But this one arrived with really low action, about 1.5 millimeters, and absolutely zero buzz. I mean, this is the first guitar I've ever owned that needed absolutely zero setup right out of the box. It's a massive contrast to my experience I had with the Squier and my Sire, because both of those guitars required a proper setup, and the Squier was even more of a project that required really serious investment just to get it playable. But yeah, inside the box I also found a little card with the employee ID of the Thomann person who did the checks and the setup for this guitar, so props to that person for actually doing their job. And then onto the neck, yeah, it's a different beast entirely. It's noticeably shorter and thicker than my other electrics, mainly because the inspiration for this guitar is basically a Gibson Les Paul Special. So yeah, it's quite different from my other electric guitars, and it did take some time to get used to. But once I adjusted, it actually works quite well from my hand size. And well, in some ways, especially for complex chord shapes, it actually feels easier to play. Everything is where it should be. Even if it feels a bit more substantial than I expected. And also, that thick neck and the sturdy quality makes me feel like I can play it a lot more aggressively without breaking anything. So yeah, let's run through some crunch tones right now. So yeah, 1 month in this experiment, and what was originally meant to be a simple tool for demoing tones in my videos has somehow hijacked my regular practice sessions. I'm finding myself picking this over my real guitars more than I'm willing to admit. And when you have a guitar that costs as much as a used car, you tend to treat it like a museum piece. But with this thing, I'm not afraid to actually play it and experiment. And this is kind of the exact freedom a beginner needs to actually get better. This Harley Benton has as much personality, in my opinion, than a custom shop piece that is too precious to actually touch. It's objectively well set up, and it kind of sounds like it wants to start a fight in a parking lot, which is cool. The only negative point I would add that would kind of transform this from a great guitar to a perfect guitar are the tuners. It doesn't stay in tune all that well. The tuners also feel kind of plasticky and cheap, so I do think I'm going to upgrade the tuning machines. But anyway, I expected junk, but I got a guitar that actually makes me want to play. And if you're someone returning to the guitar after 20 years and you want to hear what P90s are all about without breaking the bank, or you're a beginner, well, stop overthinking it. This is not a gamble, it's a steal. You do not need a $3,000 trophy case to find soul, you just need something like this that resonates great when you hit a few power chords. Yeah, and finally, check the description if you want the exact crunch settings I used for that Green Day tone, or if you want to learn how to create great tones on your Spark, check out my Spark tone guide. That's it for today. See you in the next one.